what are you supposed to be paid? Not what do you feel you're supposed to be paid. I'm asking, what is the agreement the two of you reach before you start working?
Fair market value.
Oh, so you're gonna leave it up to each other?
No, fair market.
We have a name for people who do that.
Well,
we call them litigants.
Okay.
Because what you think is a fair market value may not be what he thinks is a fair market value. So what ends up happening is I gotta decide what is a fair market value.
This is the plaintiff, Anthony Johnson. He says he was hired by the defendant to paint some rooms in his house, and the guy's stiffing him, plain and simple. That's right, he's owed $5,000 for his work and for mental anguish this chump has caused him. And he's here suing for all the hard-working men and women who get cheated out of their money after their job is done. This is the defendant, Ramon Ellis. He says the plaintiff is a day laborer who was looking for some work, so we took a chance on him to help sand and paint some rooms in his house. Well, he was nice enough to pay the guy on a daily basis for his assistance, even though his work was totally subpar. Bottom line, they never had a set agreement on price. He paid him plenty considering his work was terrible, and this guy has some nerve suing him now for $5,000. Please! He's accused of stiffing a worker.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
You see, they come to order, please. Litigants have been affirmed.
Okay, Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
you are suing Mr. Ellis for wages in the amount of wages in the amount of $2,675 plus mental anguish and mental anxiety to the tune of the rest to get to $5,000 because he
ma'am.
hasn't paid you. Let's talk about that. How was it that you were hired?
Well, I came to know the defendant from a relative of mine who stayed next door to him.
Okay.
From what I was told, the conversation was that he does I do quality work, and unsupervised, meaning, with little or no supervision. And my work is quality. And so the defendant...
What is the work you do?
I do rehabs. That
Like
mean
hand-to-hand
pain.
work?
Yeah,
Do
pain.
you have any licenses or no?
No.
All right, and how long have you been doing that kind of work?
Over 15 years.
Okay, and is it the only work you do? Do you do anything else besides that?
No.
Okay, go on.
So my business is Resurrection Professional Services.
Are you incorporated?
Yeah, I'm incorporated.
Okay,
State of
so then
Illinois.
you would have a business license if you're incorporated.
Yeah, I do have a license.
May I
but
see it?
Not under that. That's under my nonprofit though.
No, I'm not asking
Okay,
about your nonprofit.
okay,
I'm asking
okay.
about what I'm asking about. All right, so go ahead.
The defendant called me. He said that he had some houses and he have a whole lot of work for me. So he said, you don't have to worry about...
Is there a contract between the two of you?
No, I mean, this verbal.
It's all verbal. All right, so according to you, what are you supposed to be paid? Not what do you feel you're supposed to be paid. I'm asking, what is the agreement the two of you reach before you start working?
Fair market value.
Oh, so you're going to leave it up to each other?
No, fair market.
We have a name for people who do that.
Well,
we
it's
call
fair.
them litigants.
Okay.
Because what you think is a fair market value may not be what he thinks is a fair market value. So what ends up happening is I got to decide what is a fair market value,
Right.
which is fine. I'm really good at it. You just may not be happy, and you just may not be happy. That's all that's going to happen.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so go ahead. So you end up working there how many days?
It was like over a couple of weeks.
Can you tell me how many days of those?
Maybe 4 to 5 hours a day, about 5 days, 6 days.
Okay, so is it 5 or is it 6? You didn't
Five.
keep
It's
track
5.
of what you worked?
It was 5 days a week.
For 4 to 5 hours?
3 to 4 hours a day.
What were you doing the rest of the time that you weren't working a full day there? Do you have another job?
No, because the work that I do is kind of tedious, especially when you're doing two-tone paint jobs. So you got to tape everything off.
You got to wait for it to dry in order to do the other
all
thing.
this stuff, yeah.
All right. Were you there the whole time that the work was being done or no?
I was there for most of it, but
And
on
was he
off.
working 5 days a week for how long did you say?
No, I said it was about over 5 day period. that I.
I'm sorry, how many days did you work?
5 days.
5 days. And each day you worked 4 to 5 hours?
3 to 4 hours, yeah.
3 to 4
4
hours.
hours, yeah.
5 days, 3 to 4 hours. Is that accurate?
that's about accurate.
Okay. And then what kind of work did he do, and why, according to him, you're supposed to pay him a bunch of money and you didn't?
Well, the agreement was, there was never an agreement. There was never a contract. There was never anything written in stone. At the end of the day.
How do people do this? Look,
Well,
how'd you get him to work on your house? You had to have said something.
I spoke with his cousin that lives next door to me.
Yeah, and then you spoke to him and said what?
And I said to him, I got a couple things I need done at a house that I'm trying to get prepared to be rented out. And if you can help me out, I'd appreciate it. So we never had an agreement on what the amount of money was.
You gotta be kidding me.
So
Why do you do business like this?
No. When we spoke, he said, how much you gonna charge me for this job? I said, be fair market value. That's what you told me. Be fair market value.
What numbers are those?
Like $400.
Yeah.
A room.
Well, then why are you suing for 2,000 something?
I did 2 bedrooms.
Why didn't you just say $400 is what I charge?
Well, I say fair market. You know what fair market is.
No,
He
you're
rent
making. Can I
houses
just
out.
tell you something?
Yes, ma'am.
Fair market is different everywhere you go, and it's different in people's heads everywhere you go. And there's a range. So why don't you just say a price? Isn't that a better way to go?
I guess you're right.
Yeah. Now, had he said 400 a room, which I guess is what he's saying, I don't even know what he's saying. I mean, had he said 400 a room, would you have agreed to it?
No.
Right. All right, so let me ask you a question. According to you, what work did you do? Tell me from everything you did in those 5 days.
Okay. First bedroom, it was a big hole in the wall, so I had to tape and mud that up. Then I had to do a 2-tone paint job in that first room. Then the second room was gray and white. I had to do 2-tone in the second bedroom. Now the hallway I did 3 times. I painted the hallway 3 times. First time I painted white and gray. Had to do the ceiling first, then do the walls. Then he came back. He said he went in the hallway and skim. We call skim coat. That means defects in the wall. Nails or little pinholes or something.
After you painted?
After I painted, he went and did.
Why wouldn't you do that before he painted?
Well, I did do that before he painted. The problem was when I came back to look at the job after he had painted, because he wasn't the only one there that was painting. He was there to help my brother-in-law finish painting the house. So when I skim
Is your
coated
brother-in-law here to testify?
No, he's not.
All right, go on.
So when I skim coated the hallway and mudded the parts that needed to be fixed and everything else.
Why did you do that after he painted?
No, I did that before he painted.
And then why did you do it again after he painted?
Because he painted over it without sanding it to get it down to where
Why didn't you finish sanding it? You're the guy patching. He's the guy painting. Why didn't you
Because I was
sand
paying
it?
him to
Did you
to sand
specifically
it.
tell him I need you to sand
I
all
did.
those spots that
I did.
And then you didn't sand it?
No, he keep changing up, right? So
if you're a painter and this is what you do,
I'm sanding. So he
did
didn't
you
like the way
sand
I
it?
sanded,
Okay.
so he came back.
Well, did you sand it so that it wouldn't show?
Yes,
Because that's
ma'am.
how everybody wants it.
Yes, ma'am.
And so if it didn't show, why did he skim it again?
I don't know.
Well, probably because it showed. You don't have pictures, right?
I do have pictures. He
I
sent
got
me
pictures.
Do you have
too.
pictures of what required you to re-skim?
I don't know if you can see it in the pictures or not.
Okay. You check if you can see it. If you can see it, I want to see them. Go
Okay.
on. What else did you do?
So-
the hallway you painted twice. That's where we left
3
off.
times.
3 times.
Cause now from the gray to the white,
Anything else?
he wanted the whole hallway white now.
I got it. So 3
Okay,
times.
so
What else did you do?
Now I jackhammer, take the toilet up out the bathroom.
Hold on. You jackhammered what? The toilet?
The concrete floor to expose the plumbing. And the back wall so it exposed the plumbing. You got pictures to show.
And the back wall.
Right.
Okay.
Because he had a plumbing problem.
Okay. How long did that take you?
3 days. Then I filled the driveway.
How does it take you 3 days to jackhammer?
It's about this thick, Your Honor. And I'm working only 3 to 4 hours a day. So
I want you to hear what you just said.
Yes, ma'am.
That the concrete over the plumbing was this thick. That's what you just said.
About this thick.
Oh, okay.
About this thick.
This thick. How does it take 3 days? You're talking to the daughter of a contractor.
Man, it's hard. That's hard work.
I know it's hard work. It is the hardest work. Well, no, the hardest work is what my father
I
used
had
to
the
call
sledgehammer
pico
too.
pala.
Yeah, sledgehammer too. I had a
That's
sledgehammer
harder,
too.
but All
then
right.
I take the concrete.
Okay, what else did you do besides
I
the
took the
things we've talked
concrete-
about? Anything else in those 5
The
days? Or?
concrete that I took out to expose the plumbing, I filled the driveway, 2 holes on each side of the driveway. I just threw that in. I had to do something with the concrete, so you had 2 holes coming in the driveway. So I took the concrete.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, now I want to hear from you. Did he, in fact, paint the first bedroom
The first bedroom.
and patched a hole?
I patched a hole in the first bedroom.
He says he patched
And
the
I
hole.
painted the first bedroom
Wait, I
myself.
want to use a liar. He says he patched the hole.
I patched the hole, and I had him to
Okay, and you had him what?
and I told him I needed him to sand it.
Okay,
That spot.
what do you mean by you patched the hole? You filled it
I filled the hole, take
With
the mud
what?
of the hole with joint compound.
and you taped it. Is
Yes.
that accurate or no?
That's a lie.
You're the guy who did it. All right, now the second bedroom, did he paint the first bedroom?
He did not paint the whole first bedroom.
What
He
did he-
spot painted the first bedroom. So the parts, what he did was he came in, the first bedroom was already painted. I went over the spot in the wall with the mud and with the joint compound and the tape. And the top parts of the wall were not cut in to keep by the ceiling to separate the 2 paint colors. So that's what I had him to do, to cut in the walls and finish spot painting what needed to be painted.
Okay, so he did what you asked him to do.
He did what I asked him to do in there. But
Okay.
even that, I had to go back over the spot where what I asked him to sand in the bedroom again, because he never sanded it down properly. He just painted over it.
Why don't you just finish your patch job and sand it down properly?
Well,
How many times does that dog have to bite you?
This
All right,
was
in the second
after-
bedroom, he says he painted it. Did he paint it?
He didn't paint the whole bedroom in the second bedroom. He cut the bedroom in.
And is that, when you say cut in, let's be specific. You're talking about the hard part, right?
Yeah,
Which
the hard
is the edge where the
Right, the ceiling and the wall meet.
where the ceiling and the wall meet, to make sure that it's a little razor edge. That's where you put the tape, and so somebody had gone like this, and then he had to do the hard part, right?
Right, he had to do
Okay.
part by
And
cutting
did he
it,
do
yes.
that?
Yes, he did that.
Okay, now the hallway painting, according to him, he painted it 3 times.
He did not paint the hallway 3 times. He always only painted twice.
Okay, and that was my understanding from your complaint, because you painted it once, and then the wife wanted it completely white, and then you painted it again. That's how your story goes.
Okay, now the gray part, like I said, he skim coated it again. You will see it in the pictures. He skim coated again. So now I got to sand that down, paint it gray again. Then she wanted white. So that's 3 times. Cause she said it was dark. She didn't like the color scheme because it was too dark. So she wanted to lighten up. So now
Oh, I
had to
kind
do
of
it.
like the gray.
I had to do the whole wall. See, that way he skim coated again after I painted it gray. You see, right
So
there.
what?
y'all.
Everybody's being such a whiner. This takes 10 minutes. Honest to God. Is this your razor edge? Because that doesn't
that's-
look very razor
That's
edgy.
not the finish. That's not the finished job.
Okay.
Now you see in the almost the finished job. Yep, that's the first bedroom. There go the plumbing right there.
That's some
See,
work.
but I had to go all the way across there now. That ain't the finished job. Like I told you, now that's the toilet in the bathroom. I had to jackhammer that, get all that concrete up to expose the plumbing.
Yeah, no, there's
Now,
there's work.
That's before I started. That's after.
How much did you pay this man?
The first 3 days, I gave him $40 a day.
Really?
Yeah.
And
He
you
was
think
fine with that. He never complained about it or anything like that.
You gave him $40 a day.
Now, if I can give you a little bit of background on how this goes.
Just tell me how
in the
much you paid him.
neighborhood-
I want the complete answer. The
Okay.
first 3 days you paid him $40 a day. What
First
about
3
day
days,
4
I
and
gave him
day
$40
5?
a day. I gave him $50 a day that day, those 2 days.
Okay, so according to you, you have paid him $220.
That's not the end of it, though. I had to go out of town for business, my wife and myself. So before I left to go out of town, I told him, I said, look, I need you to help my brother-in-law finish up the little touch-up paint and everything that need to be done on the back part of the house where the bedrooms and everything else are. I give him $125 to finish this up and finish up the little,
So
breaking up the little
according to
concrete and
you,
stuff.
you then gave him another $125. Is that accurate? So it's $220 plus another $125?
Altogether, it was like $425. Yeah.
Okay, so $220. Go ahead.
Okay, so when I came back from out of town, I went back to look at the job that he said he had finished. That's when I discovered that the ceiling and everything that he was supposed to sand was not sanded. He just painted over it. So I had to go back and skim coat it again. So I told him, I said, look, this is what I'll do. I'll give you part of your money now, and when you finish repairing what you messed up, I'll give you the rest. So the day he was supposed to come back and finish, I lost my wallet. I couldn't find it nowhere in the house. So he kept calling me. I said, look, I haven't found it yet. When I find it, trust me, I'm gonna come and get you so you can finish up everything. So when I found my wallet, he texted me before I could even call him. He called me. I said, yeah, I found it. He said, so I asked him, I said, what are we gonna do? The job still needs to be finished. So the next day I picked him up, I believe, or either he got a ride out there, one of the two. And I took him back over to the house, and he finished sanding everything down. By that time, we had ran out of gray paint. So I said, look, we're just gonna paint everything one color and call it a day.
So you decided to repaint everything?
Because I had no choice.
Why? You could buy a little more gray paint. That's a choice, right?
Right. It was a choice to either buy more gray paint.
So your wife changed her mind and wanted it all white.
I did it all white because I didn't want to have to buy any more paint. So at the end of it, I gave him the rest of his money. We started, I had a house that I was cleaning out. So I had him to clean out the trash out of that house. So I gave him $60 for that. I asked him that day, I said, how much are you gonna charge me to move this trash out and put it to the curb? He said, give me $60. I said, okay, no problem. So he took all the trash out, set it to the curb. The next day he calls me, he said, look, all this trash is out here still. The garbage man didn't pick it up. I said, I know I didn't get a chance to catch the garbage man for him to pick it up. So he says, okay, I can get rid of all this trash for you for another $50. So he was supposed to get rid of all the trash that was in front of the house. He never got rid of it. That night,
Did you pay him or no?
I paid him still.
You paid him $50 to get rid of the trash and he didn't?
He didn't.
Okay.
So that night he came by the house to get his money for moving the trash, but he never moved the trash.
How do you know he didn't move the trash?
I went back over there to see.
So did you pay him the $50 and then after that you realized he didn't?
I paid him. After I paid him, I went over there to see what he had done.
So what happened when you called him and told him, hey, dude, you just charged me $50 for doing something you didn't?
He said that he and a neighbor got into it because he was moving the trash into an abandoned property. So
What?
he couldn't move the trash.
He was dumping, illegally dumping on someone else's property?
Yeah.
You're very Bush League, all right?
So after that, he came back to the house to finish painting. He said, I charged $50 for to repaint a hallway. I said, okay. So I told him, so at the end of the job, when he finished painting the hallway, after he was done with everything, you know, what he had messed up, I gave him $25. I said, here's the $25 because you didn't finish moving the trash yesterday, and I paid you $50 for that, and you didn't finish the job. So here's $25. This will add up to the equivalent of what you charged me to repaint the hallway.
And then what did he, that's when he said, that's it?
That's when he called me that later on that day. He texted me and said, I'll see you in court.
All right, so in total, according to you, you've been paid how much?
$425.
And you say, I tallied up everything you said, and it's $455. Do you have any, does that sound right or no? It could be right. All right, so let's say it's $455 because nobody's keeping track with receipts or anything of the sort. So if you're going to charge $2,000 something, $2,600, and say that this is a $2,600 contract, someone else has to have agreed to that. Okay. Because if you're essentially being a day laborer, then you're being a day laborer. You know, you're helping someone else do stuff. What's the rate? What is the day labor rate in, where are you all from?
Chicago.
Chicago. What's the day labor rate in Chicago? I know what it is in Miami.
This is not an hourly job.
Well, this is what I say it is because you didn't get a contract, right? So if you're just coming in and someone's telling you, hey, we need help, we need you to do this, we need you to do that, and you don't have a contract saying, well, I am an artist, and since I'm an artist, you're going to be paying way more than day laborer rates. You're going to pay me $3,000 or $2,600 for my work for half days, for 5 days. Yeah, no, that guy has to agree to that. He has to find you to be the Picasso of Chicago, okay? So it's day laborer rate. Now, do you want to answer me? What is your testimony as to what day laborer rate is?
I can't
Okay, and what is your testimony?
We have guys that stand around the store that look for work, you know, to keep a couple dollars in their pocket. So what we do is we go and we have, okay, if you want to do a little work, here, I got this that needs to be done. Now, I gave him $40 a day for the first 3 days for 3 or 4 hours worth of work. That's like $10 an hour, and if you divide it, if he's only working 3 hours and I'm giving him $40, he's making a pretty good penny.
Under the table?
I mean, of course. I mean, it's all cash
No,
money.
I know.
No,
I
it's
know.
not an
I think
hourly
you owe him a
job.
little more, but hold
And
on
it's not
one
an
second.
hourly job. I mean,
Just
but
a
you,
second. I
Your
need you
Honor,
to stop a second.
Your Honor,
You know, if you got $455 and you worked, you say 3 to 4 hours a day. So let's call it 3.5. And then you multiply that 3.5 times the 5 days that you worked. That's 17.5 hours. If you put that into the 455, you get paid $26 an hour. How are you shortchanged?
it's not an hourly job.
It is if I say it is.
I mean,
when I'm deciding what the rate is, if you didn't say to him it's going to cost you a lot more than what the going day labor rate is, then it is an hourly job.
Of course, you can go to the liquor store and alcoholics.
Okay.
Ain't gonna work for
Yes, I
$10
understand
a
that.
day.
But see, the problem that you have, sir, is that you want me to treat you like a Mercedes when you treated yourself like a Ford. That's the problem we're having here. You said, yeah, just pay me a fair working wage. And then now you want me to pretend that you are a painting contractor who's licensed and bonded, and I'm not going to do that. So you don't get mental anguish on a contracts case. And I think that what it is a
Now, I
valuable
almost went to
lesson that
jail
the
that
next
day.
time, there's no mental anguish on a contracts case. That's for injury and stuff like that.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you need to do for the next time is you need to have contracts.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
need to have and it doesn't, take the nearest crayon and the nearest roll of toilet paper and write down, I'm going to work for you for $200 a day for the next 5 days, or my work on these 5 bedrooms will cost you $1,600 or $2,600. You don't get to just make it up later when you disagree. Okay?
No.
Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Johnson, the plaintiff does not get any money from the defendant. You were suing for $5,000. You don't get anything. The judge figured out you were making $26 an hour. If you were offered that today to do a job, would you do it?
No.
Not for $26 an hour?
No.
Wouldn't do it?
No. Because like I said, it's not an hourly job. It's, it's according to
Well,
what
you've
the
said
work you're
that
doing.
many
Yes, sir.
Sorry didn't win, but, you tried.
Okay.
You did your best. Okay. Mr. Ellis, you came out all right.
Yeah.
Did he do decent work?
He did decent work.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next time you hire somebody, do you think you'll have a real ironclad agreement on what you're going to pay them?
Absolutely.
Then you wouldn't end up a place like this.
Right.
Okay, all right. Not that it's so bad here. but-
Not so bad.
Okay, thank you
All right,
very
have a
much.
good day.
All right. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, look, we talk about this. When you are hired to do a job or you hire somebody to do a job, it is just always better to get it in writing. The scope of the job, the amount it's supposed to cost, how long it will take, the words time is of the essence, if time is important, all of those things matter, and it will bite you in the butt if you don't do it. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Teddy Diamond. He says he purchased the car from the defendant, and before he paid it off, the guy never gave him the car. That's right, he stole his money. He scammed him, and now he's out $1,000, has no vehicle, and is suing the scoundrel for all he's owed. This is the defendant, Alberto Judan Jr. He says the plaintiff paid him a portion of the money he owed him and then just stopped paying. He told the guy he needed him to take possession of it because he had to pay to park it in a garage. Oh, him? No way. He disappeared and never paid in full. He's accused of creating a car catastrophe.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff bought a car from the defendant. Well, he thought he bought a car, but he never got that car from the defendant. The defendant says the plaintiff just disappeared without paying in full, and now it's costing him storage fees to leave the car in a garage. It's the case of show me the money.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Teddy Diamond, you saw for sale sign on a 94 Toyota what?
Previa.
Previa. Previa or Previa?
Previa.
Who knows? All right, and you liked it, you made an offer, and you negotiated, and what did you buy it for?
We test drove it, and he said all the dash lights were on. He said once he takes it to get inspected, that would be taken care of. And
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
The lights on the dash were on.
You mean the engine lights?
Yes, they were on.
They were all on? Mm-hmm. And he told you what?
He said it would pass the inspection. It was because of the power steering. And
Wait, how are you going to pass inspection with a bunch of engine lights on? I'm not understanding. Are you saying that he said he'd fix it?
he said it would pass inspection.
Okay, so go ahead.
So I asked him, so how much do you want for the car? He said $700. So we agreed on $700.
And now the asking price had been 1,000, correct?
1,000, yes.
Right, so you agreed to 700.
Yes, Honor.
All right, and then what is, according to you, someone else is looking at the car at the same time?
Yes, as he was showing me the car, a guy walks up and is trying to butt in. And I said, hey, man, make your own appointments. This is my appointment. You call him, make your own appointments. Because it took me almost a week and a half to get a hold of him to be
Okay.
able to see the car.
Okay.
So the guy left. We went on ahead and did a test drive.
In your complaint, you think that guy was a plant?
I think so.
Why?
Because he was Asian also.
So what? Wow, that's a big jump.
No, but it's not a common thing in that neighborhood.
Well, okay then.
That's nothing like that.
You decide you want to buy the car, and you pay how much?
He says 700 is okay, and so I say, okay, well, I'd have to give it to you in payments. And we agreed. I told him
You agreed on what?
on giving it to him.
Yeah, what payments, what days?
We didn't have any specific dates.
Okay, what payments, what days was the agreement?
Your Honor, I told him on that day to negotiate the 700, and he put down 100, and I said, okay. Then after he giving me that money, so I told him that I'm going to surrender the license plate now because I'm paying the insurance with that. So I don't want to waste my money. And for the meantime, by that time, I got approved with my garage because I live in the co-op. So I put into my garage and
You put the car that you had sold him into your garage?
Yes,
Because now it
because-
had no plates, and you can't put it
Yes.
on the street.
Yes.
And then you put the car you're driving on the street, so are you paying for parking on the street?
Yes, Your
And are
Honor.
you moving the car back and forth, as one must in Queens, based on which side of the street parking it is?
Yes, it's alternate
So,
parking.
but what was your plan with the plaintiff?
Okay.
When you sold him the car,
Yes.
what is the deadline for him to give you the money?
Okay, he told me I can give you after 2 weeks the complete money, that which is 700, and then.
Well,
when-
if he had given you 100, what was the complete money that he's supposed to give you after that? 600.
That's supposed to be 600. It is
Right, and
listed
he
here,
told
yeah.
you he could pay that when?
He told me by 2 weeks after the negotiation.
Did you tell him in 2 weeks?
No, ma'am.
Did you tell him you hope to have it in 2 weeks?
No, ma'am. I told him I'm on a fixed income and I would make payments when.
Yeah, but make payments when? Does that mean that you have the right to make payments for the next 82 years? Like, in other words, when? When is it reasonable to say, okay, up to here? This is,
I'll let
So
him-
what day was the sale?
The 27th of August.
Is that the day of the sale? Is there any paperwork reflecting the sale?
Yes, I have
Okay,
here.
let me see what you got.
I have here, we signed, agreed the negotiation. He signed, I signed.
Okay, so it is 8/27, and then it says balance 600, and it has no mention of when to pay it.
Right.
None. Why don't
Yes.
you put a mention of when to pay it?
It's just a verbal things that he told me.
Yeah, I know, wouldn't it? But you know that it's a
Yeah.
good idea to write it down, because you took a piece of paper and your nearest crayon, and you actually wrote down everything that you needed to write down, which is really good. The only thing you didn't write down is when the other 600 is
Okay.
due. So 8/27, and when do you pay any more money?
September the 4th.
Yeah, how much money do you pony up then?
I give him $100 and then.
The 100 was on the day, on August 27th.
and I give him
then
an
how much did you
additional-
give him a week later?
An additional $100 in cash and a money order for $275.
So 375, is that accurate?
That's correct.
And you were able to cash at 375. All right.
Yes.
So On that day, did the two of you discuss when you'd have the rest of the money?
I told him that you can take the car now because I need the garage.
So you told him, just take the
Yeah.
car and owe me the money. We'll figure it out later?
Yeah, I'll
Because you
figure
just
out later.
wanted
Yes,
it gone.
you just get the car.
And what
I
did he
don't-
say?
And he said, okay, give me until the end of September, month of September. So that's like September 30 or 31st, whatever.
Okay.
And
30,
then
there's no 31st.
before that date, I called him how many times?
How many times?
Yes.
Yes, no. I want to know how many times you
It's
called.
in the log. It's in the log on the back.
What log in the back?
That one I written down there. I called him. He don't respond me.
Do you have your phone records?
Yes, that's the one.
No, that's you writing down on a piece of paper. Do you have your
I
actual
don't
phone?
have the T-Mobile account. I cannot retrieve. But I wrote down what
Let me ask
date.
you a question. On that day when he gave you the $375, he said he'd be back to pick up the car when?
He mentioned to me until the end of September.
If it's the end of September, then you have a bunch of calls to him on the 14th. What are those about? And the 15th?
The 14th, I called him already because I need the garage because I have 2 cars.
You're not listening to my question. Why did you tell him on September 5th, okay, you've got until the end of September, and then you're calling him 9 days later to say, no, you don't have until the end of September? Why are you calling him on the 14th of September?
I called him of that.
This is your list that
Yes.
you wrote. You have 3 phone calls you want me to look at.
Right.
2 on the 14th and 1 on the 15th.
Yes.
What are those about?
That's all about to remind him to come and pick up the car.
Okay, he tells you repeatedly, pick up the car. Why aren't you picking up the car?
Miss, he never called me.
What? No, it's not. Did you just call me miss? Yeah, don't do
Judge.
that. Judge. All right, now,
He never called
why
me.
don't
My
you pick
apologies.
up a car you bought?
He never gave me permission to take the car, even though it was not paid for.
Okay, go on.
Miss,
Did you call me miss a second
I'm
time
sorry.
after I
My
just
apologies.
scolded you for disrespecting me
Judge,
and
my
calling me
apologies.
miss? If I was a male judge, would you call me mister? Or pal? No, right? So please do not call me miss again. Respect this
apologies.
position. Okay, judge.
Your
It's so,
Honor.
or just don't call me anything. Just keep talking. Your Honor will suffice
Your
as
Honor.
well. Go on.
Your Honor, when I made a payment on September the 4th, he told me he needed the garage.
Which
and-
means pick up the car.
No, and I
What
said,
does I need the garage mean?
he said that the garage cost him $150 a month.
Why is he telling you that?
And I said, well, you can't leave it in the street? He goes, no, the inspection's out.
Right. So
and
all
I-
that tells me that he is telling you to pick up the car.
No, he never gave me
No,
permission
no,
to do
no.
that.
See, what's the point of whining about how he can't put it on the street, about how he needs you to finish up, pay for the car, and get out of here.
He wanted
But
more
why
money.
is it that you are able to buy a car on August 27th? When do you get the car towed from the garage?
October 4th, I guess, Your Honor.
October 4th, the car gets towed from where he's been housing the car, waiting for
Yes.
you to finish buying it and taking it. Okay. Why is it that you get to buy a car August 27th, and on October 4th, all that time later, you still haven't finished and taken the car that he apparently is telling you, I need you to get this out of here, I need you to finish paying, I need you to get this out of here. I don't know whether he's giving you permission to take it without paying or not, but I do know you bought it, agreed to pay something, and at this point, we are literally talking about it's 36, 7, 8 days later, and you still haven't finished paying it.
Your Honor, the whole idea of telling me about the garage was to get an additional $150 out of me.
What do you mean out of you? You agreed on August 27th to pay
Your
for the
Honor,
car and buy it. Why didn't you buy
The
it?
plates were still good on the car. The inspection sticker was out. And I said, listen, so get the car inspected and leave it in the streets. And he goes,
No,
but I
he
have
turned
to.
in the plates. What you're saying doesn't make sense. I'm asking you a very specific question. You bought a car, why didn't you pick up the car and finish paying for it?
He didn't give me permission to pick up the car.
Well, why don't you finish paying for it? If you
told
finish
him-
paying for it, let's assume for a moment that he never gave you permission to take the car before you finish paying for it. Well, how about, I got a plan, why don't you pay the other $225 and take the car?
The whole agreement was based on him getting the inspection taken care of.
Where's that in the contract? Because I don't see that.
No, it was a verbal
Oh,
contract.
so your verbal contracts are good, just not his.
No, that was for me to
Okay,
research
so
it.
you end up donating the car in October what?
October.
And how is it you, according to your complaint, you see the car being towed?
Yes.
How is it you're able to see the car being towed?
He had it on the street, and I'm walking to go to Temple to do my prayers early, and I see a Sienna sitting on the back of a wrecker.
So it's just a coincidence? You happen to be walking by there? Okay. And then you see the Sienna on the
And I
wrecker?
go to the tow truck driver, and I say, "Hey, I'm actually buying that car, man." And he goes,
You're
"Oh,
not there."
the guy."
Hold on, don't talk to him directly.
He said the guy sold it to us, and that was on October the 8th.
So did you get any money for, let me see the donation paperwork. Did they give you any money or anything like that or no?
This is a cars for kids that I donate. That's the thing.
Right, did they pay you any money, yes or no?
No.
Money. No, so it's a pure donation.
Yeah, pure donation.
And then the tax deductible, $500,
Probably.
yeah. All right, do you know how much you paid? Well, how much did you have, your car that you had to park outside, did you literally have to go every day and move it from side to side?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you end up getting any tickets?
No, Your Honor.
You were on top of it the whole time. All right, and so according to you, you call him several times and you tell him, pick up the car, pick up the car.
Yeah.
And he just what? He ignores you or what?
She don't answer the phone.
He doesn't answer the phone, and do you leave messages?
I leave messages.
Okay.
For how many times? Every time I call them, I leave messages.
I didn't
Okay.
get any calls. I didn't get any messages. And
Okay,
I lived
what kind
half
of
a
phone
block
do you
away
have?
from him. It was an iPhone.
Do you still have it?
No, I have a Samsung now.
Okay. Well, based on what I'm listening to, I certainly don't find that you're entitled to $1,000. That would be pretty ridiculous. And I don't even believe that you're entitled to any of the money that you've paid so far back. What I find is that you breached the contract. I think he gave you sufficient time
Your Honor,
to
he
wrap
never-
it up, and you didn't. And there's a consequence to that.
Your Honor, he
and
never gave me the
therefore,
okay
I am
to
ruling
take
in
the car.
favor of the defendant in this
kinda
case.
figured you would
That is
do
my
that.
ruling.
So after hearing all the testimony, the judge finds for the defendant. Mr. Diamond, step over here.
She's anti-Semitic, I could tell right off the bat, and so is the client.
What? You say that?
She's anti-Semitic. She's anti-Semitic. She got upset because I said, "Miss, excuse me." It's a form of manners. It's not a form of belittling people.
You have to learn the custom in court. You don't call a judge miss or mister. It's Your Honor. Look, I'm sorry you're upset. Just because
I'm
you
not
lost, you
upset.
can't call somebody anti-Semitic.
No, I'm not upset.
Don't do that.
There's
You
a lot
are.
of people that are
Sure you are.
anti-Semitic. That's
Oh,
okay.
come on.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, the defendant, Mr. Junin, is on his way out of the courtroom.
Are you, sir?
What do you think? I mean, you never agreed to let him pay off over 3 or 4 months, did you?
I told him that you can get the car anytime after he giving me that deposit and then giving up that chance to pick up the car.
Well, you
like
explained
on
that in the court.
Yeah.
You explained that. Okay, you're victorious. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Good enough.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. And
Okay.
also the people of the court helping me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
okay.
The door is that way. Okay, you got to go sign some documents. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, just a note, if you are buying something on a payment plan, you got to really be careful with those payment dates, because if you miss them, especially by a substantial amount, you may lose what you paid and you may never get the merchandise.